Go Bitcoin.
Go Bcash.
Go Ethereum.
Go, 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 go.
I just realized my camera can do this. Why has no one done this before? I have no idea. It seems like a great idea. Just save the space down here to talk about more coins. Genius. Genius. Two quick things before we get into today's video. Number one, actually some guy mentioned that they do shots every time I look into this camera. I'm going to try not to kill you in one of these episodes. Are there anyone watching my videos from Leeds or pretty close to Leeds thinking about a meetup this Saturday on the steps of the town hall? I want to gauge interest in this. Let me know in the Slack channel if you'd like to do the meetup. I've done some before that were awesome, but the main advantage, which I didn't consider before I started doing them, was that you guys get to meet other like-minded individuals. And yeah, no doubt I'd like to film something with you guys. But let me know. To anyone who's on the fence about starting a cryptocurrency YouTube channel or otherwise, go for it. The demand far outstrips the supply for this kind of stuff. I think it can be likened to people doing crypto right now on YouTube to Let's Play gamers doing like horror games in 2008. We know how well that turned out. Time will tell if this analogy is an accurate one. I can make a recording and I can say Bitcoin's at whatever price it is right now. By the time you're watching this, it won't be. I think one exchange had Bitcoin at $7,400 not so long ago. Again, another day, another green 5%. The market cap is almost at $190 billion. We gained, depending on when you're watching, $4 to $10 billion overnight. A lot of that money went into Bitcoin. Not all of it, as you can see. There are a little bit of a spike, a little bit of a rebound here, even though it's already on the way down again. Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash is still continuing to pump. These are Chinese miners pumping this. I can almost guarantee it. Ripple had a bit of a pump. Litecoin, Dash, BitConnect is looking to be a top 5 coin sooner rather than later. Although that's without any competition at the moment. It'll be interesting to see what ETH Connect and others, there are more, can do to the space. The battle of the trading bots. The legit trading bots. Even them recovered slightly bit. Monero. I got a couple comments in the Slack community recently that I should do like in-depth coin reviews or dedicate some time on these episodes to doing one. While I think that's a pretty good idea, there is something that you should know how I view almost every altcoin. And that's the fact that they were created simply to turn it into more Bitcoin at one point. And ask yourself how sustainable you think that business model is. Potentially it's great, but out of the few coins that actually have viable, price-irrelevant use cases, only 1% of the market cares. And I pulled those numbers out of thin air, essentially. But the point is that the tech just isn't that relevant, if relevant at all, to price action. I'll tell you what's potentially just as relevant. How hard does it meme? How many Lambos will this get me? You remember those memes? The moon money memes, chicken and rice memes? We are in a crazy world. We're in a crazy, crazy situation. It is the Disneyland of money, and I mean that in so many ways. But the situation with Ethereum is pretty funny. People were making price predictions about it, but I would say even if there wasn't an incoming Bitcoin hard fork, Ethereum would likely still remain at 300. Why? If Ethereum was to get half of Bitcoin's market cap, which is a long way, that's a long way to go. That would be a 2x return on your investment. 2x. Would you be happy with that? Does that satisfy you? Maybe. Maybe it does. To a lot of the market, it doesn't. I tell you, they'd be more interested in what the next Ethereum is, the next coin that's going to go from 1 to 400. And it's getting worse, trust me. More and more people are getting to this realization. Ask yourself, if more people are coming to this realization, how much more willing are they going to be to gamble, especially in high market cap coins, potentially, rather than just holding Bitcoin? Ask yourselves if there aren't going to be a ton of people like this willing to eat up any Bitcoin dip in the future. Even with that said, I don't think that the market share or the Bitcoin dominance can remain at 61% just before or after the fork. If it was 45% before the forks, is 50% more realistic? I don't think 60 is. We'll have to see. I'm not a market analyst. I'm not a financial advisor. There are excellent projects out there not growing at all. So instead, let's try and find what the flavor of the month coins are right now. They seem to be SegWit, although none of them is pumping at the moment. A lot of the SegWit coins were being pumped part in due to the fact that Bitcoin Gold was raising awareness of why SegWit has mining benefits, but I think mainly fueled by pump and dump Telegram groups. Not pump and dump. Yeah, okay, pump and dump. High fee entry ones, such as, I think this one's a popular one, the Palm Beach research group. But there are others. There are loads of places that you need to pay to learn some stuff. Tons of groups like these. They pick coins in a rather smart way that they think others might think is a good idea. That's how this works. So to you researchers out there, it may be worth your time to find all of the SegWit coins. If it has Lightning Network, that's a bonus. If it has atomic swaps, that's a bonus. Maybe one of those is the next to pump. Or maybe it's no longer the flavor of the month. We're not talking about SegWit anymore. We're on to the next thing. What's the next thing? Right now, is it EOS? It certainly seems so. Even with the ICO still having a ton of time to go, tons of coin hitting the market every single day. Completely irrational market. If you think you can predict what the next flavor of the month is going to be, please share your thoughts with us in the Slack community. Told you guys, Mr. Bean was a Bitcoin holder. Now, this is an excellent argument. I really want to dive into this topic. Does anyone else hate it that we celebrate getting rich here rather than the growing adoption, technological breakthrough, and financial freedom that's changing the world? Because it definitely does feel like a Ponzi when everyone's cashing out because the price keeps going up, rather than celebrating the freedom that's rewarded. Here's my 2 cents on the argument. Imagine an alternative. Imagine where that wasn't happening. How are you going to get people interested in your project? How are you going to change the world if no one cares about what you're trying to do? You can't. And funnily enough, this poster doesn't actually offer any alternatives. Because there aren't none, what's one of the best ways to get people involved, to change their lives, to support something? Is to reward them. People are selfish. That's the way we're meant to be, like, to a degree. So, in other words, Bitcoin's perfect? No, it's not. But it's potentially the only way this could have happened. Potentially the only way you're watching me right now. Grossel coin is losing the steam and it's on the way down. A lot of people won't be holding this coin because they don't see the reason for it. When you have alternatives that are better to use, what would be the point? I know you might like a coin, but what would be the point? I don't get it. Yeah, to turn it into more Bitcoin one day. That's about it. Status has some really good news come out today. An NFC enabled. Now, if you're unsure, this is where you hold your phone to the payment method thingy and it works. It's called NFC, the cryptocurrency version. Okay, this is a project that also has built-in chat and a iOS wallet. Great, right? Well, it would be if they didn't raise $100 million in the ICO. What's the problem with raising $100 million? You've killed the demand for the coin. Killed it. Who else is going to buy it now? You sold to everyone. So this is the problem when you've got these blockbuster ICOs that either don't have a cap on how much they're trying to raise, or the cap is so high it almost doesn't matter. Unless it's capped or unless the project is flying kind of underground, you're killing demand for the coin. Okay, there are tons of examples. Let me give you another one. How much did this raise in the ICO? I think it was a ton. Anyway, there's probably better examples than that. Tons of them.
Go, go, go.
Wait. What do you mean season 4, episode 5? What happened to the other seasons? Well, what started as an initial filing system for keeping old episodes ended up being a little bit more elaborate way of me separating content. So the beginning stuff, the stuff that I've done right at the beginning, this was box mining wannabe type stuff, and I've referred to it as season 1. Season 2 is when I started doing the funny intros. Season 2 lasted for a while. Season 3 was traveling to America and vlogging. Season 4 is getting back and using dual cameras. Basically, anytime I feel I've innovated my content slightly or sufficiently to warrant a new season, it gets a new season. This season might last a while. I'm not sure. We'll see what happens.